I'm sorry, what's all this? No, that can't be right. The rich cannot just win everything. That's not the moral of any story with a moral. And don't the Yankees already have a superstar shortstop? You gotta be kidding me. They're never gonna lose again. Damn the Yankees. The 2004 trade that sent Alex Rodriguez from Texas to New York was thought to usher in the ruin of the game of baseball. Or, if you're a Yankees fan, usher in untold years of success and happiness and parades and banners and smiling. Alex Rodriguez's decision to switch to third base and play for the Yankees was a big deal. This episode of Big Deal is presented by T-Mobile, now the best network in America according to Ookla Speed Test. Go to T-Mobile.com/network to see how. So, why'd ARod do it? He certainly wasn't struggling at shortstop. He was, however, having a rough go stuck on the 4-time last-place finishing Texas Rangers. He wanted off that terrible team more than anything in the world. The way the rest of us want, I don't know, sleep? Money? Acceptance for who we are? ARod could not get what he wanted because his most lucrative contract in all of sports and all of history trapped him in Texas. I'll explain. Back in 2000, the Rangers signed free agent Alex Rodriguez, widely considered the best player in baseball, to a $252 million 10-year contract. For context, that's double the previous earth-shattering sports contract. It's more than the Rangers owner paid for the Rangers, and the ballpark, and the land around the ballpark. It was more than the entire payroll of 3 teams that year. Now, a mind-boggling contract comes with some expectations, that ARod would be good, and thus the Rangers would be good. Half those expectations were met, or exceeded even, but it didn't matter. Before the Rangers had ARod, they were in last place, and for the 3 years they had ARod, they served as a very nice example that baseball is a team sport. In July of 2003, Rodriguez let it be known he was unhappy. His numbers were not quite Alex Rodriguez levels, the team was well below 500, and Rodriguez spoke to USA Today. He blamed the team for his sub-best player ever stats. He went so far as to say he wanted a trade, but he tried to phrase it in a way where no one would be mad at him. Didn't work. Everyone knew ARod was itching for playoff runs and rings and a legacy of more than just individual stats. He wanted to be on a title contender. But there was truth to the idea that leaving would benefit the Rangers. They needed pitching, and how were they supposed to afford pitching when they were giving one guy more money than it costs to buy a whole team? As long as they had to give ARod all their money, they weren't going to get better. Some in the Texas press were done with him, tired of his greed and his attitude. ARod wasn't a great leader. He had bad blood with the Ranger pitching coach because he kept calling pitches from shortstop. He'd invite some teammates to travel on his private plane, wounding the feelings of others. And as owner Tom Hicks would later explain, he had a way of sucking up all the oxygen in the clubhouse and leaving none for the other players who were simply trying to breathe. Also unideal for the clubhouse, ARod feuded with manager Buck Showalter after the 2003 season, not returning his calls and being super pissed. Showalter okayed the firing of a clubhouse attendant who kind of served as ARod's personal valet. But all that paled in comparison to the money. The money was killing the Rangers, and they needed relief. They needed to trade Alex Rodriguez. So the two parties were in agreement. ARod wanted to be traded to a competitor. Texas wanted to trade him. Great, let's do it. Oh, wait, you need a third party to be involved. Another team to take on Alex Rodriguez and his ridiculous contract. Uh-oh. Let's take a look at ARod's extremely limited options. First up, the Mets. They weren't exactly a title contender. But during all this trade talk, Alex just so happened to drop that he loved the Mets since childhood, and I doubt he was just making conversation. He was interested in them back in 2000 when he was a free agent, though the Mets balked at his price and the special treatment he wanted. Oh, wonder why. What could possibly go wrong? There were some reports that the Mets were interested. They had a good rookie shortstop to offer. And look, Texas, a good pitching prospect. Plus, Mike Piazza said he'd accept a trade. But there were also reports that the Mets were not interested and were kind of bitter and perhaps enjoying some sour grapes over ARod's greed-induced self-imprisonment. And realistically, the Mets couldn't afford ARod. Moving on, let's talk about the Red Sox. They were contenders, runners-up in the 03 ALCS, so that checks the box for ARod. They had Manny Ramirez to offer, which could check the box for the Rangers. And they were actually interested in trading for ARod, which is more than we could say for the Mets. The one holdup was ARod's damn contract. The Rangers wanted Ramirez and cash for ARod. Texas owed Rodriguez money, Ramirez was fairly expensive himself, and since he wasn't a pitcher, Texas still needed to buy some pitchers. The Red Sox did not want to include cash. But as we've discussed, the Rangers were eager to offload Rodriguez, so they got creative. How about Ramirez and a young pitcher instead of cash? Nice idea, but it didn't pan out. The Red Sox got creative too. What if ARod restructured his contract so the Sox paid him less money? Then they'd be willing to offer Texas some cash. So they were proposing ARod give up money? The Red Sox, that's not how the world works. Oh, ARod was down. Wow, he really hates playing for Texas. So, cool, he's off to Boston? Absolutely not, said the players' union. According to union rules, a player cannot reduce his contract without material benefits deemed equal in value in return. And let's take a look at ARod's proposed contract with the Red Sox. He was going to give up $4 million a year for the next 7 years, essentially a 35% reduction in salary. And the proposed material benefits to balance that out were... he'd be a free agent after 2 years instead of 4, but he's never going to get a deal that makes him more money, so hard to see how that is beneficial. He'd get marketing rights to the Red Sox logo. Okay, he could animate that and pitch it around to networks. Ooh, he'd get good tickets. That's nice. And he'd get a private suite on the road. I'm assuming the hotels will have swimming pools. Did all that equal $4 million a year? No, said Gene Orza, Associate General Counsel of the Players Union. But who cares? If ARod wants to lose money, why not let him? Because it would fuck over every other player trying to negotiate a salary from then on. Or maybe anybody trying to negotiate a salary. ARod took a pay cut in this economy, but you think you should get more money for being a good lawyer? Come on. See? It's a slippery slope. Do lawyers get raises? How does the world work? In the end, the Red Sox were also not an option for ARod. Wait, Tom Hicks, wait, yelled ARod. What if the Sox pay my full contract, don't offer you any money, but I personally pay you back $15 million? Then can we do this trade? That's how much ARod wanted out of Texas. Or how little he valued money. Or a combo of the two. Probably a combo of the two. Commissioner Bud Selig was made uncomfortable by the idea. Hicks insisted it not be done in secret, and in the end, it didn't work out. The train to Boston was gone. Now, Rodriguez's only option was staying in Texas. ARod had not solved his problem. He had just made it worse, spending the offseason burning bridges with both management and fans, all but guaranteeing the best player in baseball would be booed at home. Both he and the Rangers attempted to convince the public it would be fine, great even. ARod said, "I definitely think I'm going to be here for a long time. I'm probably pretty sure it will work out for the best." Inspiring words. In further efforts to trick fans into thinking everything was fine, Buck Showalter named ARod team captain, an unofficial title with no inherent responsibilities, and a position the Rangers had not had for the past 20 years. Fans were not tricked. They were angry, actually. But wait, there was one more option for the shortstop, versatile player. Because Yankees third baseman Aaron Boone tore his ACL in the offseason playing pickup basketball. Thus, the perennial contender, the 03 World Series runner-up, the team so rich they didn't bat an eye at Rodriguez's larger-than-life contract, needed a third baseman. Could Alex Rodriguez play third? Now, a few people would end up taking credit for coming up with this last option. Agent Scott Boras, Yankee GM Brian Cashman, but either of them could have seen this letter to the editor, which was published the very same day Boras said he called Cashman. The Yankees liked the idea, but selected Rodriguez. Shortstop had been his position his whole life. It was where he won 2 Gold Gloves. It's a more glamorous position than third. You can even call pitches from shortstop. And let's consider ARod was very, very good at shortstop. We know this guy thinks about his legacy. It's conceivable that knocking the word perhaps off this description was part of his legacy to-do list. Plus, he'd be switching to third to accommodate Derek Jeter, the Yankees' current face and leader and shortstop who got them to the World Series just last year. But Rodriguez was a better shortstop than Jeter. And he'd expressed some jealousy toward Jeter over the years. Would he really defer to a guy he's competitive with? This doesn't seem like the easiest decision for ARod. Oh, it was. One night. It took one night of thought. And apparently it wasn't a particularly restless night. Wait, what? But the title of this series... No. Shit. I cannot have gotten this wrong. I've been talking for like 10 minutes. He's just saving face. He'd say or do anything to get out of Texas. Remember, he was going to personally pay Tom Hicks $15 million. The fact of the matter is, this decision, this move, was huge. It looked like it was going to change the landscape of the league, of the sport itself. Yes, it sure looked like there was a lot of winning in store for ARod and the Yankees. That is a headline from his first year in New York, after they blew a 3-0 lead in the ALCS against the Red Sox. Rodriguez faded in the series, thus our headline. There were no more Gold Gloves in his new position, though there were a few MVPs, and he did get 1 ring. So maybe the trade wasn't exactly the big deal we thought it would be. It didn't result in the evil empire reign we predicted, but it did change the landscape of the league. Texas made it all the way to the big show by 2010, something that certainly would not have happened if they were still paying Alex Rodriguez all of their money. And the Rangers actually got there by defeating the Yankees. The final out? That'd be Alex Rodriguez looking. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know there are a lot of things you could choose to do when you fire up the old internet, and that you came here means a lot. Stick around for other videos, join the Patreon, and for Secret Base, I'm Clara Morris. Good night and good game.